Trained by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning, a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now it's time to break it all down. Here are your hosts, Ryan the Hacker Green and Dylan Denmark.
And a very good Friday evening to you, Jacksonville. It is the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Friday Night Lights. We are presented by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning with Dylan Denmark. The Hacker Ryan Green with you. We are glad you are with us. Week 9 of the high school football season. And boy, we had action going on all over the area. What a dominating win for Bishop Kenny tonight over First Coast. Bishop Kenny, who wrapped up a district championship last week, they looked very good tonight in their win over First Coast. Congratulations to Rains, a dominating 51-3 victory over Creekside. Rains remains undefeated on the year. The Nice Panthers are in the winner's circle tonight, 29-0, as they defeat Atlantic Coast, so a good win for Colin Drafts and Nice. Stanton, the Blue Devils, a 36-24 victory over Westside tonight. It was Providence 37-8 over Kip Bold City. Congratulations to Christ Church Academy. The Eagles are winners tonight, 24-17 over Cornerstone. Flagler Palm Coast, big over Yulee. Yulee was previously undefeated. No more as Flagler Palm Coast gets it done, 42-14 over Yulee. And clearly the game of the night thus far. What a ball game that just ended at Ed White High School. Oakleaf scored with under a minute to go to make it 45-41. And Denmark, you and I were watching the Ed White Hail Mary to end the game. We both thought it was caught, but the Oakleaf defender knocked it out at the last possible instant in the end zone. And Oakleaf goes into Ed White and leaves with a 45-41 win.
Yeah, it was number 7, Trace Burney. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. The senior, he scores a touchdown with about 20 seconds left for Oakleaf for them to take the lead, 45-41. And then with about 11 seconds left, Ed White has the ball. They got to go 55 yards down the field. They get one play. I guess they call a timeout. They take a heave all the way down to the end zone. The quarterback gets it all the way down there. The Ed White receiver catches the ball, has both hands on the ball, and number 7, who caught the touchdown, is able to play all the way through the receiver's hands and break the ball up as the receiver is going down to the ground. Incredible play, and Oakleaf gets a thrilling victory at Ed White tonight.
Yeah, game of the night so far, no question. We'll let Christopher Foy celebrate, and then we'll get him on the program. Of course, we're going to get a lot of Victoria's head coaches on. Rains has been final for a while. Nice has been final for a while. So we'll chase down some head coaches here coming up in just a moment. A lot of close games around the area in the fourth quarter. Toccoa Creek, 23-17 over Menendez in the fourth. I got Clay, 35-34 over Fernandina Beach in the fourth quarter. St. Joseph's over Oak Hall, 19-17 in the fourth. Maybe one of the biggest surprises of the night, St. Augustine, 27-20 over Bartram Trail. St. Augustine, I have as the best team in the area based on their resume. This is a rivalry game in St. Johns County, but Bartram Trail not going quietly into the night. They're giving St. Augustine all they want.
Yeah, and it's one of those crosstown rivals, so you know both teams are going to come with their best shot. It is a little surprising, but it is a rivalry game. I'll tell you one game that's surprising right now. It's in the fourth quarter for me, at least if this is correct, is Beachside Middleburg, 30-30. Middleburg didn't have their way last week against Ponte Vedra. And, Ponte Vedra, can use their athletes out in space on the outside. Beachside likes to play that same game. They got 3 really good receivers and a quarterback. And Middleburg wants to run the football. So you have two completely different styles. And we'll be interested to see who comes out with the final, who comes out victorious on top of in that game.
Playoff positioning-wise, that would be enormous for Middleburg. They are the 7 seed in that region right now. They're playing the 3 seed in Beachside. So that would really help Middleburg's postseason standing. Also, you look around at Ponte Vedra. You mentioned them, 56-0. They lead Orange Park. Paxson is going to be a winner tonight. They lead Wildwood 45-25. And how about Trinity Christian, 32-14 over Tallahassee Lincoln? Tallahassee Lincoln's not going to come over here anymore. Nice beat them by 40 earlier in the year. Trinity gets them by 18 tonight. That's a good Lincoln football team it has not gone their way in 2 trips to Northeast Florida.
Yeah, and Trinity Christian, man, give Coach Dormady and the boys over there credit. They the season did not start the way they wanted to. Granted, they played Rains and Bulls and a lot of good teams to start the year, but you win your district games, which they've done up to this point, and now it seems like they're getting a little bit of momentum. And Tallahassee Lincoln is a much larger school than Trinity Christian. Nice home win tonight, 32-14 for the Conquerors.
We talked to Victoria's head coaches under the Friday Night Lights. It's what we've done now for 19 years. And let's kick off tonight's show by going to Donovan Maslin, the head coach of Rains. They were big winners tonight over Creekside, and Coach joins us here under the Friday Night Lights. Coach, congratulations.
Thank you, man. Good to hear from you guys.
Coach, that's a Creekside team that won a district championship last week. That was a Creekside team that was excited for the chance to go into the graveyard. And my goodness, Coach, 51-3, a running clock in the second half. What an effort from your kids tonight.
Oh, yeah, man. We were excited, man. It's a 7A opponent, a bigger school than we are. And, they just coming off a district championship win. And, we were really locked in on this opponent. We had to make sure that we coached our guys very well throughout the week. And we had them prepared and just wanted to come out and play explosive football from the beginning. And that's what we came out and did.
Explosive football. I would assume that TJ Cole, your quarterback, had a pretty good game.
Yeah, he definitely did. It started with our defense. We had a caused a turnover on the first series, and Scoop and scored, and it just trickled into the team, and they came out excited and played dominant, and then we was able to throw the ball around, run it fairly well, and get guys open in the end zone. So that's what it's all about.
Coach, there's been a lot of chatter about your schedule, but I will defend you in one regard. You're playing schools that are way bigger than you. You beat Lake Mary 51-3. You play another school tonight, way bigger than you in Creekside. You beat them 51-3. You beat Trinity Christian 48-14, a Trinity team that just beat Tallahassee Lincoln tonight. You beat Riverside 49-0. I mean, you guys have been absolutely dominant. What's your message to the kids going into a district championship game next week against Yulee?
This is our most important game because it's our next game, and we have to solidify our spot in the playoffs, and that's what we're geared towards. We can't control. I tell them all the time, control what you can control, and that is how we perform and how we play. I hear all the chatter myself about the schedules, but at the end of the day, my phone doesn't ring for guys to play us. So
yeah, nobody's lining up to play, are they?
They can say what they want to say. You can ask those schools why they're not playing Rains.
Coach, I mean, you look at your schedule. You've played, you've had run the clock almost every game except for the Madison County game last week. I mean, if there was anything to pinpoint and say, we have to get better at this, what would that position be?
Continuing to, be dominant up front with our O-line. How the O-line and D-line go is how, this team is going to go. So, they had a Oklahoma commit tonight, and, I felt our O-line did very well against him. We had a young guy, Isaiah Maiden, and he did a phenomenal job against him tonight. So it was big just to kind of play that type of opponent in the trenches, because we know in the playoffs we're going to see guys just like him. And we're able to get movement, and we're able to, make sure pass set is good against him, and we can, have time to get the ball out. It's going to be good for us. So it just, the way we practice, we practice violently against each other because we know the type of ball that we have to play. We know, what we did last year and the mistakes that we made, and, we want to make sure we don't make those again. And so, the kids are locked in. They're hungry. They're on a mission. I tell them all the time, it matters not who the opponent is. It's all about, what Rains is doing right and what we're doing wrong inside that rectangle.
Well, Coach, congratulations. A dominating victory over Creekside tonight. Donovan Maslin of Rains, undefeated on the year, and a district championship game next week against Yulee. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you guys next week.
51-3 over Creekside, and maybe Rains' most dominating performance of the year.
Yeah, and like Coach was saying, you think about Rains and the speed on the outside and the quarterback, all those things are usually pretty good for them. their offensive line, you could put up with anybody in the city. They are massive, and they can do anything they want on the offensive side of the ball.
Congratulations to your guys. Baldwin is a final. They are winners over Ribault tonight, 35-12. Another final that just rolled in. Coy Creek, 23-17 over Menendez. Let's go to another victorious head coach down in St. Johns County. Nice gets it done over Atlantic Coast tonight. Colin Drafts, the head coach of Nice, joins us here on 1010XL. Coach, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys having me again.
Coach, that's a nice win, a dominating win, and what a defensive effort from your kids tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. Defense is just continues to play really good football. That's our second shutout in a row now. I had the shutout win in the weather game versus Bartram last week, and then finally had some beautiful weather tonight at Atlantic Coast and got the win 29-0. So feel pretty good about it.
Who were the guys on the offense that were putting the balls in the end zone?
Well, shoot, the defense scored the first touchdown. One of our defensive linemen, Sloan Davis, who actually had a fumble recovery last week as well. I think somebody sacked the quarterback, probably Jacob Curry or Crew Casey, and he scooped and scored it from about 75 yards out, I think. So that got us on the board first. We had Aiden Pfeiffer pass to his cousin Chase Pfeiffer for the first offensive touchdown, and then I think we ran a couple more in. But total team effort, special teams was good. Another win on the road for us. We haven't been at home for a while now since that St. Augustine game in a bye week. So feel good sitting here at 6-2 right now.
Colin Drafts of Nice. We've talked about this in the past, Coach. You like to play all your in-county rivals, and you got two more in the regular season against the two youngsters in the county, but two teams that are pretty good in Coy Creek and Beachside. As you enter the home stretch of your schedule here, 6-2 on the year, do you like where you guys are right now?
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked to you a bunch, right? Started hot 4-0 and then kind of had that mid-season. I wouldn't call it a slump, right, when you're playing St. Augustine and Buchholz back-to-back, but we dropped two, and then we, got to lick our wounds on the bye week and had that kind of gritty win on the road versus the county rival Bartram last week and got the win tonight. And then, we finished with two games at home before the playoffs. So you've got Coy next week. That's our homecoming game, and they had a good win versus Menendez tonight. And then what was the Beachside final tonight?
Right now, we're still waiting on a final. We had 30-30 at Beachside and Middleburg in the fourth quarter.
Right. And regardless of how that game ends up, right, Beachside they're rolling right now. I think, if I'm correct, they lost the first game of the year down in Orlando, and I think their starting quarterback was out for that one. They haven't lost again. They've beaten some really good teams, and Coach Duffy and those guys do a really good job. So we're going to focus on Coy first, but like you said, we do get to end with two more county rivals. We're the only team in St. Johns County that plays everybody because we played Menendez in the spring as well. So that's important to us that we play all the county schools as much as we can, and hopefully we can end with two more wins. That would give us a 4-game winning streak to hopefully finish 8-2, head into the playoffs, and then we kind of just take it from there.
Colin Drafts of Nice, winners tonight over Atlantic Coast to get to 6-2 on the year. Coach, congratulations.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you guys having me as always.
Nice win for the Nice Panthers. We do have a final as well. Clay 35, Fernandina Beach 34.
So look at this. This is 6A Region 1. Listen to how brutal this is. You got Buchholz. They're at the top of the region. They're third in the state according to the RPI. You have Pace, who's second in that region. Mandarin's third. Nice is fourth. Oakleaf is 5.
Yeah.
That is a brutal region. So one of those teams that I just named are going to play each other in the first round.
Yeah, it's rough. And we expected it to be a round robin with Mandarin, Nice, and Oakleaf, and you would expect that at least two of those teams will see each other in the playoffs. Speaking of the playoffs, teams are punching their tickets to the playoffs. Really exciting district championship games are being set up for next week. It's a big night of high school football. It is the Southeast Orthopedic Specialist Friday Night Lights. We are presented by Duck Duck Rooter, plumbing, septic, and air conditioning. A lot of games are going final. We'll get more victorious head coaches on. Verlin Dormany of Trinity Christian after their win over Tallahassee Lincoln. Christopher Foy of Oakleaf. That is the game of the night so far. as Oakleaf beats Ed White 45-41. Also, Don Velvet of Baldwin after a 35-12 victory over Ribault. More to do. We're just getting started under the Friday Night Lights here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
How does number 9 feel about number 16?
All right, here we go.
Find out when David Garrard joins Mike and Fat Tony. Mondays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Restored by Resto Pros of Northeast Florida on 1010XL.
Greenlaw Group is for the insured. If you think you have roof damage, call 904-302-7055 today, and they will schedule you a free roof inspection. Trust their law firm to help you fight your insurance when you need it. These storms can cause damage you may not even see yet. Call Greenlaw Group 302-7055. There's no cost to retain their law firm and no cost to have your roof inspected. They only get paid if you win. Greenlaw Group, for the insured.
Big personalities, bold opinions. Lunch just got louder. Joe C., Matt, and Leon are XL Prime Time from the big number 1 Duval Ford Studios.
Any questions?
Yeah, when's lunch?
Noon to 2 on 1010XL.
Hi, I'm Amber Frangie. You know that other Frangie? Well, he's my dad. But I'm here to tell you about how much I appreciate the Awaken 180 weight loss program and how it's changed my life. Like a lot of folks, I let myself go a little. Not proud of that, but it happens. And I wasn't sure what to do. I've tried a lot of other weight loss programs, but they just didn't work. Not like Awaken 180. Can you believe I've lost 70 pounds in less than 4 months? With Awaken 180, there's no medication, no shots, and no side effects. And best of all, really fast results. You eat the food that's provided, and it's really good food. You work with a coach on a regular basis who guides you through the whole process. I'm never hungry. In fact, I never feel like I'm sacrificing anything. Just living a totally normal life. That's my new normal. And now, in October, they're offering free consultations. So there's no reason not to call them and learn more. Call them at 844-346-1800, or you can visit awaken180.com. It really has changed my life, and I bet it'll change yours too. That's Awaken 180.
Craving tacos? Take advantage of the amazing lunch specials at One Night Taco Stand. Get bold flavors and